Actually, the E46 comes back from the roll cage tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow? Where am I at? What am I doing? Do I even know? How long has it been since I've been here? My goodness. I was like driving up. It's been like 40 years or something, man.
Oh, man.
I turned 40 on what, Friday? That's what happens. No soft close.
Too bad, but
Poverty spec.
sync clap. Sync clap the door. Anyway, on that note, good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Nürburgring. And look who I found.
I'm here.
And
got a fresh cut.
yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah. Yours is better than mine. They said, is it too short? And I said, no, it's not short enough. Cut it shorter because it grows so fast. I don't want to have to go back in 3 weeks.
It's the same what I'm doing, basically. But probably half of the current audience on my channel gonna be like, who is this guy?
Who's this guy?
I think it's the same video we did last year. It was like one of the first laps of the year. They're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, we went in the Polestar, I think, right?
I think so, yeah. So now we are in the E30 M3.
Yep.
So for people that know, this is one and only Robert Mitchell, who got lost on YouTube. Like,
yeah, I do have a YouTube account. Go follow it.
Yeah.
And be amazed at the things that come out on it.
For 3 years, nothing anymore.
It really was a COVID account, right?
It kind of was.
Yeah,
it was also
account.
Misha left the Croatia account.
Yeah, Misha went to Croatia, there's COVID, so I'll do a little YouTubing.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden life picked up again and
Yep.
You were doing something else. Okay, but for people who don't know, this is Robert, the owner of Apex. No, it's not me, that's him. But we started it together there, so I'm gonna take a bit of a credit there.
Got to do that. 2016.
Yes.
Called up Misha, said, what are you doing next year?
Yeah. And then, do you want to upset some people?
No,
like
we don't want to upset anybody.
No.
We like people.
We do.
Yeah.
We really like you guys most of all, so thank you for sticking up with us throughout all the years. But I think it's going to be a good opportunity to talk about life at all, because we never see you like on YouTube and socials. So
I kind of quit the Instagram, didn't I?
Yeah. But the thing that you are posting recently are the E46 updates.
Yeah, the E46 and this as well. We're gonna take the motor out of this and do a little bit of work to it. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small oil leak, nothing major. It's just between where the timing cover and the oil pan come together. This doesn't have a traditional gasket system. Actually, the timing cover and the oil pan touch each other, which is, you know, a little bit of a funky design, but that's what we got. So we're going to take this out. We're actually going to rip the motor out, fix any, you know, seals, redo everything, and then clean up the engine bay a little bit. So really looking forward to doing that. That's much needed.
When is that going to be happening?
Actually, the E46 comes back from the roll cage tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow? Where am I at? What am I doing? Do I even know? How long has it been since I've been here? My goodness. I was like driving up. It's been like 40 years or something, man.
Oh, man.
I turned 40 on what, Friday? That's what happens. So the E46 comes back the day after tomorrow from the cage, and what we're gonna do is we're going to first we need to refit the dash with the new cage just to make sure that everything fits.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple little things we need to do to that. Send the dash off we're gonna put Alcantara and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then right when that's done, we're gonna strip the car down completely, send the shell off to paint. We're gonna completely dip it and strip it. And then from there, once it's stripped, they've got, you know, they'll have the car for a good month.
Yeah.
And then during that time, the engine will come out of this, and that'll be George's kind of side project. Well, sorry about that, dude. That'll be George's project. Well, well, the E46 is getting painted. So
yeah,
so I'm really excited to get this thing, you know, a little bit of work. One of the plans for this car was to do quite a bit to it.
Yeah.
You know, and we've been doing a lot of research about the history of this car because, as you know, this blue isn't a blue that you could order from BMW.
No.
You know, it's a 1988. It's an Evo 2. All the numbers match the chassis. You know, from the chassis to the transmission to the engine, everything matches. But there's always been a little bit of a question mark in regards to how did it come about the color.
Yeah, should we paint the back red, because originally we came
it was
red.
the Misano red,
yeah,
which is a really cool color. And you know, so yeah, you have all these questions, and some people, which maybe you guys could give a little feedback, some people are like, oh man, no, you got to leave it blue because it looks cool like that. Other people say, yeah, but you know, a red E30 is kind of the thing. I think, what year was it? I think you gave me a birthday present, or was it a Christmas present? It was a red E30.
It was a Christmas present.
Yeah.
It was 17. It was the first year of Apex. I think.
It's a E30 model that you gave me, and you know, it's really cool actually. And I love that color, and that was because I told Misha one day, I said, man, I really would like to get a red E30 one day.
Yeah.
Quite the line there.
Oh.
So, you know, that's one of the things that I'm weighing back and forth on this, is what way do I go there and everything, and we'll figure it out all in due time. But first things first is get the motor out, clean up the engine bay, make it look good.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be more or less completely. It might turn into a winter project, maybe even.
I really hope not, because I want the engine to come out, get that work done to it, and have it back on track really before summer.
Okay.
I don't want it to be a big deal.
Okay.
This needs to, you know, kind of just be a quick out and back in so I can enjoy it. And if we decide to paint it and do everything, then that could be a separate winter project.
So you have more plans to drive this year?
I want to drive this a little bit more this year.
Because last year in total you did like what, 30 laps?
I think 30 or 40 laps, yeah. I don't think I don't even need to say I don't think. I know that I didn't make my money on my season pass back last year. Yeah. But I mean, a lot happened. I crashed the Polestar.
Yeah.
You know, my chest was pretty
you
bad.
got crashed into, or say,
someone
pulled out.
Someone pulled out in front of me and totaled the Polestar.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't drive for what, 3 months after that.
Yeah.
I broke my sternum, so that didn't really work. And then after that, right when I was about to get back on track, then we had the hurricane, and I ended up in Florida for a good couple months, emptying the house out. So yeah, by the time it all got said and done, I didn't do crap on the track last year.
Yeah.
So this year I want to, as you can see, this thing has what? Oh, we clicked actually over 48,800 kilometers so far on this lap.
Nice.
So I want to put it over 50,000 this year.
That would be good.
That's my goal.
That's a good thing to look forward to.
So.
Then of course the E46.
Well, I'm really excited for the E46. That thing's going to be so badass.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing that as like the intent for that car is not to be the fastest car in the world.
Yeah.
The intent for that car is to be a very quick car, but a very fun and emotional car to drive.
Yeah.
So it's about intake sounds. We've got a Hymus. Well, we better get this shot. Better put that in, Misha.
Yeah.
We've got the carbon air intake. We've got a Drenth DG 500 gearbox. We've got a Drexler differential. We're putting strict cams in it. So everything that we're doing is about emotion in terms of the drivetrain.
What everyone's been asking for, you should build something like this as a taxi.
Exactly.
And then we're going to see.
And so that's the whole idea, is just to have that emotion out of it. You know what I mean? Make something that just when you get in it and you ride in it, you're hearing the intakes, you're hearing the cams, you're hearing the exhaust, you're hearing the straight cut, geared transmission, you're hearing the differential. It's just gonna be like, what do I want to listen to right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And okay, he doesn't want to pass, I guess that's fine. So that's really what it's about, is just building emotion. Now, when I say it's not going to be the fastest car, we can talk lap times in terms of what a car can do, because we know what everything does, right?
Yeah.
The all-out built E46 hasn't gone sub-7 yet.
Yeah.
And this car will not go sub-7. It'll be very, very low sevens, let's just say that.
Yeah. And that's also more than enough fast with tourist traffic.
I don't even want to drive that fast. I mean, as you can see, I just like to go out and cruise and hold up 2 Series, BMWs and stuff like that. That's what I'm all about, just having a good time. But when you can go through that gearbox and listen to it run, I mean, that's pretty special.
Exactly. Well, that's so far your personal car fleet.
Yep.
Let's talk maybe a bit about Apex.
Yeah,
because we have the red Golf that I drove before you yesterday.
I haven't driven it yet, guys.
Yeah.
I did drive it on the street one time though.
Yeah. Then we had the full rebuild of the M4.
Right.
We built the M2. There are some ideas of buying something more for this year and replacing something that we already have. You want to mention anything?
I mean, it's tricky because we talk about the Cupra a lot. In 2017, we had a red Cupra, which is now owned by our good friend Rob, right?
Yeah.
And that's a car. Okay, we'll let the 2 Series go, and then we'll follow. So we had that Cupra, and it was a hit.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a time when we really had a ton of fun with that car, and we pushed it. But it was also a new car. You couldn't get it in certain markets. It was fresh. It was exciting. A lot of people were after it.
Yeah.
And you know, the Cupra now, it's the Golf seems to be a more popular car than the Cupra.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
And for good reasons. I mean, that thing's awesome. It just looks good. It's a beautiful car. It's really cool. And so the Cupra, whereas we have about 50% of the bookings on the Cupra that we get on the Golf, I would say.
Yeah.
So we were just trying to think, if we were to replace the Cupra, what would we get? And we're not 100% sure on that yet. It's something that we're just going back and forth on and thinking about. And yeah, all in due time. So if anybody has any ideas,
don't say GR Yaris. We had
don't say GR Yaris. Been there, done that. And but the
new Type R.
What's that?
The new Type R.
Yeah, we had one person recommend that potentially today. So yeah, so I'm definitely open to ideas as to what, you know, we could get in that regard. But it needs to be exciting, but it also can't just be like some hype machine that's going to be difficult to get parts or unreliable or something like that.
Or again, regarding Type R, it's a manual, and unfortunately we have lots of troubles with people misshifting, blowing up gearboxes.
It's a constant issue, and it's not just the GR Yaris. And I'll be the first to admit, I was the first one to damage the GR Yaris engine, and I was driving slower than this, and I was just talking to Diana, and I just did a quick shift and just put in the wrong gear. And it wasn't about trying to be, you know, like a race car driver or anything. It was just a transmission I wasn't used to, and I just went like this, and I just bumped out the clutch. Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
So we got to get that first carousel picture.
Oh yeah. Let's see if Martin is there today, because yesterday he wasn't, I think.
Oh, he's letting us down.
So sad. So sad. Martin, are you there? Yay!
So, you know, and that those things happen. And then when someone comes out to this track, this really is an intimidating track.
Yep.
You know, you see like cars coming up behind us right now. You got to know you've got a fast car that just overtook a bunch of slow cars, and where you're coming up to, where's the slippery part of the track, and you get to know that just from being on the track enough. But when you're coming out here the first time and you're dealing with that, and you're shifting a car that's not your car, you know, it's not a transmission that you're used to, you can really get in trouble.
Yep.
Quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big dilemma. Which car should we get? Because it's at the end of the day, we mentioned it for people who have been following us for a long time. I know everyone's gonna say, you should buy this because this is what I would like. Yeah, right. I would also like an EP3 Type R Honda Civic, but at the end of the day, we're running a business, and when people come here like, I don't want this shitbox old Civic, but I would love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same for everything else, you know. It's like the older cars, they bring much more emotion what we like, but for the average person, a story that keep on repeating quite often when we were running like taxi in the taxi office, people would come to us and we ask them, would you like to have a ride in our M3? They say, no, I go in the M5 because it's a bigger number, so it's a faster car. Yeah. This is how people come here and think, and well, that's what we have to deal with. And unfortunately, you have to make choices, and that's why we have something for kind of for everyone, like a mass product, and then the E46 M3 taxi, which will be for people who enjoy this a lot more. Right.
And that car is going to be about pure emotion. You know, we had to deal with that a lot when, I mean, McLaren's brake. I don't think there's any argument there.
Yep.
Right? And look at this. It's a good looking car, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty.
Is that would that be Sebastian? Just,
I don't know.
Looks like his color.
But so I was joking McLaren's brake, and we had the 720 as a taxi, and there was a minute where you couldn't run it.
Yeah.
And we had the M4 VLN car, which was a pretty bitchin' car. I mean, you know, it was in terms of modifications, it was pretty badass.
Yeah.
And there would be people that would say, no, I only want a supercar. So you say, okay, fine, look, how about this? I made a deal with a couple guys. I said, you go in this car. If you don't enjoy it, I'll refund you your money.
Yeah.
They got out of the M4 and they're like, that's unbelievable. There's no way that a McLaren would have sounded like that and felt like that. You know what I mean? But you had to convince them of this, you know? And,
exactly.
And for them to get, you know, to the point where they were actually ready to jump in that car, it took convincing. And you don't want to have to convince somebody to do something. So what we decided this year was going to be a focus was building absolute badass cars for the track. And I think that the Golf is an example of that. It's a car that's exciting. It's going to have a ton of emotion, and it looks good.
Yeah.
And you know, from the build, from the suspension to the cage to the seats, it's a very, very thought out setup that's designed simply to be fun out here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more to it. You know what I mean? And that's what I think the biggest goal for this year is to go through the fleet and build cars like that. We've got a 220i coming.
Yeah.
It's going to replace the 218, so it's going to be a considerable amount more horsepower, much more torque, and it's going to sound better.
Yes.
Right? And people are like, a 220i, that's not exciting. If you've driven the 218, you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
The car's an absolute riot to drive, and it's a car that Warren Gott took it.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He's like, this thing's amazing. And people are like, who's driving the 218? And that thing's flying. And because it's got such good brakes, it's got such good suspension setup. It's just amazing, you know?
Yes.
And so it's a car that really is perfect for a beginner or someone that wants to learn momentum driving.
Yeah.
And just learn how to actually drive a car on the track and learn the line. So it really comes down to just, my goal this year is to build a fleet that takes the build on everything to a level that we consider perfect for driving on the track.
Yes.
No heat issues, no, you know, perfect setup with tires, suspension, comfort, and everything like that. And I think that's the biggest thing. And then I've sold off a lot of cars. I've gotten rid of a couple McLarens that just weren't working for me, you know?
Yeah, you only have one left, huh?
I only have one left. I only have the 620 left. And the reason is 675, the orange one. Are we going to go again, or are we heading back?
No, let's go back. I have like a few laps to do.
You know, so you look at it and say, okay, what are these cars doing for me? And at the end of it, if they're doing nothing, I want them gone, right? And I'm more excited right now about building that E46 exactly how I want it.
Yeah.
Nobody else's influence. Nobody says, well, this is how I've always done it, so this is how you're going to have it. It's going to have air conditioning. It's going to have every single cooler that I want. It's going to have everything exactly how I want it, from a you know, we're talking about now setting up the AIM dash and everything. Everything is going to be exactly how I want it to be, and built to my exact specification, which I couldn't get out of a Ferrari, I couldn't get out of a McLaren, I can't get out of a Porsche. You know what I mean? And this is going to be exactly that. So I think that's what this year is refining the entire process and making the cars perfect. You know?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those two cars completed, this and the E46. And doing some laps, hopefully.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Everyone on the channel's like, why don't you ever let Misha drive the car? I'll let him drive the E46.
For that, stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, you know what to do. And on to more videos. And yeah, guys, looking forward to seeing you on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. The old school audience did. The new school will be like, why are you driving so slow?
Yeah, that's what we do.
Who is this guy?
That's what we do, huh?
Yeah.
We go out and cruise and talk about stuff. Now, if you want to give Misha some shit, ask him where the video of him driving the Speciale is.
I wasn't filming back then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I wasn't that much into YouTube. Because back then, like, filming was, ooh, you're not allowed to film.
Yeah, you're not allowed to film on the track. He drove the Speciale.
Yeah. 720 I drove.
720, Speciale.
675.
675 you drove, yep. We had some fun with the 675s on track, like on closed track days, and maybe some drag racing on
with 3 cars away.
I don't know. Rumors.
Maybe there is some Dropbox Race Navigator footage that we can find somewhere. Anyway. maybe not.
No, I don't know.
See you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.